Welcome to Mormon Book Reviews, where an evangelical encounters the restoration. I am your host, Stephen Pynakker, and I just want to welcome you to a very special episode in which I'm not going to do a book review per se, but I just thought it was important that I discuss with my audience my philosophy of book reviews and kind of what made me decide to do book reviews in the first place, and why I do and don't do certain things in the book reviews that might be different than what other people do. So one of the reasons I decided to start this channel was I was actually thinking about 3 or 4 different ideas for YouTube channels. And some of them are actually pretty good. Maybe one day I'll do them. But the thing that was most obvious was this bookcase that was staring me in the face when I realized, you know what, I could review the books that are in this bookcase. Well, of course, as you all know, the channel's really taken off and people are really enjoying my author interviews. But I also recognize that at the core, we are Mormon Book Reviews and we do book reviews and we're going to continue that format. It might change a little different, but the basic setup is what I've been doing, which is where I discuss the book, I take the book out of the bookshelf, I then discuss the book off the top of my head. Now, a lot of people ask me, do you read the book right away, or how does this work? Well, in some cases, yeah, it's a book that I recently read. Sometimes it's a book that I might have read like 2 or 3 times, but the last time I read it was like 15 years ago. So my idea is that what I like to do is I like to take these books, maybe I'll peruse them, but I always just try to go through the book and say, okay, what do I remember from this book that I read 10, 15 years ago? Because I feel like that then is something that's locked in my head. It was an important bit of information, and I thought that's the thing that I want to talk about because it obviously made an impression on me. Now, growing up, I used to read a lot of movie reviews. I was really into movies. I really enjoyed them. I loved watching Siskel and Ebert. But one of the things that I found with movie reviews, I felt like they would do the intro, talk about the movie, and then they would talk about the movie. And I hated that. I would always read the first paragraph talking about, okay, this is the movie, and then I read the last paragraph or so where the critic gives their review and their impressions, and then that would help me determine. Because my whole idea about going to see a movie is I really don't want to know anything about this movie. I want to go in complete without any preconceived ideas. If a critic I liked the movie, I take that into account. Or if they didn't like it, I don't care. Maybe I like a certain type of genre and I don't care how bad it is. I'm going to watch it anyhow. But that's why some people have come to me in the past and say, why don't you talk more about specifics in the book, more details, and all that kind of stuff. Now, in my second season, I have started integrating a little bit more of details in there, just so I could kind of, appease people who want that. But still, I don't like to get too detailed in the actual body of the work, only because I feel like I want people to, one, I like Steve, and if he likes this book, I'm going to give it a shot, and I think I've earned that trust with people, but I also want to not take away any spoilers and spoil it for you. So I'll just mention briefly a few things that I find interesting, and then I leave it up to you. When I give a lot of my books, of course, get 5 out of 5-star reviews, which that's the thing too. It's like if I'm going to produce books, book reviews, I am going to do book reviews about books that I think would be useful to you, whether you are a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints or any other restoration branch, or you evangelicals out there who I'm hearing from, who are we're watching my channel as part of their research into Mormonism. Now, if many of you know, obviously I've read a ton of books. Not only do I have my bookshelf and other books located, I got piles all around me. I'm having people sending me books like crazy. So folks, I'm not going to be able to finish this whole entire bookshelf because I just am getting books almost every other day. But what I think that people understand the spirit of this channel, and Tony Fieldson, he recognized the spirit of it when he watched the very first episode when I did a book review of a Pentecostal reads the Book of Mormon. He recognized that I have a spirit about me in which I'm not about going after proselytizing or bashing. Really what I want to do is I spent decades researching the restoration. I find it very fascinating, and the way I was able to access the restoration for much of the time was via reading books, because the internet in its early stages was not a good resource for getting stuff about Mormonism. Just to give you an example, my local library in Munster, Indiana had the Encyclopedia of Mormonism series, the 2 volumes, I believe it was 2. It might have had an accompanying piece, I don't remember. But every couple months I would check it out for 2 weeks or for how long I could, and just sit there and just read the Encyclopedia of Mormonism. That's how much I was into the topic. I just loved it so much. So as I studied, as I read, as I got to know the prophet Joseph Smith better, even while reading the Bushman book and the No Man Knows My History book, I started to develop a real appreciation for the church, for the movement, for the history, for its people. And I realized, all of this bashing that evangelicals are doing, you know what? They haven't done the research. They haven't read the books. They will read a few books and then they'll just become polemicists. All they want to do is bash you guys in the Restoration. And I just feel that, you know what? You guys who are going after the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, you don't know as much as you think you know. And the reason why I can say that is because I watch your programs, I read your books, and it's very, very poorly researched. And I just think that you guys, you just have an agenda, and that is to bash and to proselytize and show how smart you are or how smart you think you are. But the reality is that I can tell when you've done the 10,000 hours. I can tell when you read the book. And I can tell when you've done the research. And so my point is that if you take the time to do what I do, I really think you would definitely have a different attitude when you're engaging the Restoration and its members and the organizations that are part of it. And so this is why I felt it was important to start this channel, because nobody else is doing what I'm doing in its own unique way. Whether it's the books that I review that maybe a lot of people have never heard of, and many of course are very popular as well, or just the idea of taking the time to actually meet the authors and talk with them, and the authors will tell you, I can tell that you read the book, Steve. So I'm coming in an informed way. Now, I'm not trying to brag. I'm very humbled by all the support that I've received from everybody. And I've truly been blessed by people in the Restoration. And I want to thank you and honor you for accepting me and taking me in and allowing me to be part of the conversation. And that's just so exciting to me. So I just want to remind all of you that, one, we have a Patreon page. So those of you who'd like to financially support the channel, please, I'll leave a link and please support us. You can reach me at mormonbookreviews@gmail.com. Don't forget, we're on all the many of the major podcast platforms. We are expanding to different ones, so keep an eye out for that. And I also want to remind my audience to like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification button to when a new video comes out. You all have yourself a great day.